big buzzword that you're going to hear from legislative session and throughout maybe even the election year is the word affordability. And that's across the board: housing, taxes, property taxes, income taxes, healthcare, you name it.
Paul O.
Hello.
Vice President of Public Policy at the Gwinnett Chamber. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm happy to be back. I'm sitting on this side for once, and it kind of feels nice.
Oh, good. All right. Well, Paul, today we're talking about one of your favorite subjects, the primary area of responsibility in your career at the Gwinnett Chamber. How long have you been with the Gwinnett Chamber?
I'm going into my, I believe, 7th year. I've completed year 6.
Wow.
I can't believe it's already been year 6. I remember when I was a young intern at the Gwinnett Chamber when I started, as people think I am, but now I'm an old man.
Yeah, well, that's some of that's true. Paul, what made you qualified to be the head of public policy at the Gwinnett Chamber?
So before my role, I worked for U.S. Congressman Rob Woodall. He represented District 7 in Georgia. That represents parts of Gwinnett County and Forsyth County. I was his constituent service representative for a time, and then I became his field representative and learned a lot about the county and the area and serving. And even prior to that, I actually served and worked for the Georgia Chamber as an intern in economic development.
Okay.
So I had a lot of good exposure to the stakeholders and decision makers, especially in the area of public policy. Naturally, that led to this opportunity to work for you and the Gwinnett Chamber, and that's even since starting at the Chamber, it's accelerated my learning curve and just the network of people and the influencers that I got to get to know.
Well, Paul, you mentioned the Georgia Chamber, and this morning you and I got to experience probably combined our 20th Georgia Chamber Eggs and Issues breakfast. Mm-hmm. And today, as in everyone I've ever attended, we got to hear from the governor. We got to hear from the lieutenant governor. We got to hear from the speaker. Mm-hmm. And there was the who's who, the entire delegation, almost all of the House and all of the Senate were there. You had all of the constitutional officers were there. And then we've got a couple of races this year, constitutional races, which are governor, lieutenant governor, agriculture commissioner, AG, all these, labor commissioner. Yep. Give me your takeaways about today's Eggs and Issues.
Yeah. First of all, I do want to congratulate and commend Chris for a great program. Every year it's awesome, but this year it was held at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We were on the turf field, so well executed by him and his team. I loved hearing a lot of the talking points from our guest speakers down the Capitol and from the governor. It's pretty obvious this year the big buzzword that you're going to hear from legislative session and throughout maybe even the election year is the word affordability. And that's across the board: housing, taxes, property taxes, income taxes, healthcare, you name it. The focus is going to be on how do we make sure that Georgia continues to be an attractive place to live, raise your family, start a business.
Which is really not a surprise. I think that's been a focus for quite some time. Yeah. If you think about the reform last year on the insurance reform, and that was really being driven by affordability for you and I, homeowners insurance, car insurance, but also the prices of anything we would go buy in a store, in a grocery store. Corporations are getting beat up by insurance companies and these large increases in rates. And that was really the message last year. And so I just think that, first of all, is important. It's important to the businesses in Gwinnett. It's important to Gwinnetians. And so I heard what you heard. Mm-hmm. It is going, and it's going to have some effect on a lot of local organizations, and it's going to be really interesting how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, the governor made an emphasis to say, hey, affordability is nothing new in Georgia, and we've been working on this issue a long time ago before it became a popular topic to talk about. And all the speakers even touched on lawsuit reform that was a big success for the business community and how important it was to restore balance in the courtroom. But extension of just supporting the challenges that businesses face, definitely families. It is an entire ecosystem that we live in where families workers and employers are all impacted. So this is just a continuation of how do we continue to build upon the successes that we've had down the state capitol by introducing and ultimately supporting pro-business policies that ultimately help every Georgian.
I think that's well said, Paul. And I actually was thinking about something that Chris Clark said, not Chris Carr, Chris Clark, the president and CEO. And he probably is the most consistent person saying this. And I've heard him just say it for years, which is we are a free market economy. We are. I mean, it's a modified free market economy. We do have zoning regulations and we have laws, but it's a free market economy. And I think it was Coolidge.
Yeah,
President Coolidge.
President Coolidge said,
the business of America is business. And as a chamber president, I love that because it really is. I mean, there's no other country like it. There's no other country where you could literally show up as an immigrant with, we've heard the story a dozen times, with $25 in my pocket, and they turn themselves into a productive, successful, person in our community.
Yeah, and I definitely believe that message rings true today, where America is probably the only place in the world where you can claim that and say that and be successful. And my parents are a product of the American dream, being able to come here, not knowing the language, but being able to start their own business and be successful.
As you know, I come from immigrants. My grandmother and my mother were born out of this country, came here after World War II. My grandfather on my father's side was the first person born in America. All literally came with nothing and built something to where you and I can sit across for these microphones today. So I think the American dream is alive and well. So we talked about eggs and issues. I mean, it was a really great event, completely sold out on the floor of the Mercedes-Benz, which was a lot of fun. What do you think? Give me 2 or 3 things you think that's going to be being proposed to fix, using the solution to fix affordability. What are the tools that are going to be used?
So the way the General Assembly is set up right now is it's controlled. Both chambers are controlled by the Republican Party. So the Senate and the House both have Republican majorities. However, both the Senate and the House have different ideas proposed for how to tackle the affordability challenge. The Senate, under Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, they are pushing more for a income tax reduction or elimination. And the House, under Speaker Jones, is pushing more for a property tax reduction.
Paul, you just said that they're in the same party. And they've had, minus 40 days a year to get on the same page. How are we we're now on the third day of the session. Mm-hmm. How have they not gotten on the same page?
I think in some sense they are on the same page, but they of course have their own solutions for getting to where they want to get to. There are behind the scenes conversations being had. Now it's just a matter of how much of a compromise are we going to see between an income tax reduction and a property tax reduction. But given that this is a big election year for, one, everyone under the Gold Dome, but two, the people certainly running for higher office, there is going to be some messaging involved. And so it'll be an exciting session for sure.
So Georgians should be looking for some proposed legislation in an state income tax reduction, which there is none in Florida. Mm-hmm. So either a reduction or a removal. Mm-hmm. We could also be looking at a reduction in our property tax, which would be county, city, if you're in a municipality, and school. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You think it's one or the other, or you think is it on the table to be all of what I've just said?
I have to believe that there's got to be some sort of compromise and some sort of combination of all. Now, the proposal isn't to immediately eliminate the entire income tax. I think that's where they want to head within the next coming years. But it's got to. I foresee some sort of combination, okay. and it is going to be an impact on local governments because especially when it comes to property taxes, that's primarily being used to fund one, our school system, and two, our local county and municipality.
The counties and the cities have some associations that lobby on their behalf. Mm-hmm. I think that the county is the Association of County Commissioners. Mm-hmm. And then the Georgia Municipal Association, I believe, is what it's called.
Yep.
So you think they're going to be at the Capitol trying to defend their right to tax citizens on their property.
You'll see them for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they will for sure be present in both chambers, making sure that they share their concerns on how this impacts their operating budget to serve their constituents.
I would assume the local governments would say, if you reduce my ability on property taxes, I will not be able to give the services that our citizens demand and are used to.
Not just services, but even everything that we kind of overlook, like transportation infrastructure.
Capital infrastructure.
But I would also say everything from fire and police to parks and recreation and to public libraries.
Public libraries. Mm-hmm. Wow. Paul, do we have good libraries in Gwinnett County?
I believe we have probably one of the best library systems, public library systems in the nation.
Oh, okay. That's a heavy endorsement.
Well, it's only because we won a couple awards over the years.
That said, we were the best library system in the nation?
I don't know if it's use those words, but we are recognized for our outstanding facilities and services.
Yeah, in the last 20 years, we were chosen as the best library system in the United States.
Then there you go.
Yeah, I was there when we received the award. Paul, do you serve on the library board?
I serve on the Library Foundation board.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that all your biases are out in the open.
Vox Pop Uli is a marketing production company that specializes in print, apparel, and specialty engraving. We help businesses communicate their brand across all of their channels. We provide print, apparel, and specialty engraving, so everything from vehicle wraps, banners, business cards, trade show displays, to your corporate apparel, uniforms, backpacks, anything that you want to put a logo on. You can contact us by phone, email, or visit us on the web at vox-pop-uli.com.
Okay, so Paul, this is serious though. I mean, we got some serious things coming at us. Man, if there's a reduction, I do know. I was speaking with the chairwoman of Gwinnett County, Nicole Love Hendrickson. Flew through her second election. She's in her second term, doing a great job. She said they removed $85 million. There was an $85 million reduction from last year's budget to this year's budget. Mm-hmm. That's probably a good defense, saying we're managing ourselves.
Absolutely. And I don't believe that the General Assembly's targeting any specific local government because of this, but definitely, at least for Gwinnett County, to be smart and stay ahead of the game and said, hey, we have been very good stewards of taxpayer dollars, says a lot, at least when we go back and share that with the lawmakers down in the Capitol. I will add that over the years, the General Assembly has been reducing income tax incrementally. So this is nothing new, mm-hmm. but they do see an acceleration moving forward. And not just income tax, but this also goes to corporate income tax. Mm-hmm. So this is also a benefit to businesses in Gwinnett. Okay.
I was not aware. I just keep hearing about the individual. Mm-hmm. So it's both. That's great. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot more to come. So, Paul, in Gwinnett, we have arguably some of the most powerful people down at the Capitol. And so I don't know that that's common knowledge to folks. So why don't you share a little bit about that and who's in what role?
Yeah, I don't think it's common knowledge, but I believe it's important for our members to know who's serving them at the Capitol and who has a lot of influence. And fortunately for us, Gwinnett County, if you look at the Gwinnett County delegation, there are 180 House members. There's 56 state senators. And Gwinnett County has 31, if you combine the two chambers, 31 elected officials down at the Capitol who represent them. That's roughly 13% of the General Assembly. And of that, we have several people in that Gwinnett delegation who serve in leadership capacities. And I do want to highlight who they are. First, we start with Majority Leader Chuck Estration, who is a recipient honoree at our annual dinner, our 78th annual dinner.
I didn't know that. It's incredible. I knew it. I'm kidding. And Paul, am I mistaken? Is that happening at the Gas South District?
It's going to be at the Gas South Convention Center right here, as we always do. It's always over 900 maybe mm-hmm. attendees.
Yeah.
Some people know it as the Gwinnett Prom.
I've heard that.
But we are very happy to recognize Leader Estration for his efforts. And this is not just what he's done in the past year. This goes back to years of service as a state representative. but also the intentional, meaningful legislation passed under his leadership that support business.
Yeah, what's really interesting is he's an attorney, owns a practice, he's a small business owner, active in the community, young family, but he also he's really balanced, I think, in a way of he's done really great things to help businesses, which obviously we care a lot about at the Gwinnett Chamber, but he's also worked on, he was the author of that hate crimes bill a few years ago.
Yeah.
Which one would argue is good for business too. He's done, I'm really impressed with all the different things that he's worked on.
Yeah, and that hate crimes legislation is something that the Chamber officially and publicly endorsed at the time, and we were very proud to work with him and partner with him on that legislation.
Oh, great. Okay. So give me some other ones.
Okay, so you also have Majority Caucus Chairman Bruce Williamson. That name may not be as recognizable to Gwinnettians as someone like Chuck Estration, but Bruce Williamson has been a long time caucus chair in the leadership roles in the House. He has a small part of South Gwinnett, but he's still part of the delegation. And then you have Majority Caucus Vice Chairman Sue Hong, who previously served as Governor Kemp's floor leader. So now she's in this leadership role. And then on the Democrat side, you have Minority Whip Sam Park, who served in that role for many years.
Okay.
I do want to also touch on the folks in the Senate side. So you also have Majority Caucus Chairman Sean Still, who was a guest of our podcast last year. And then you have Majority Caucus Vice Chair Clint Dixon, who represents the Beaufort area. And lastly, on the Democrat Party, you have Minority Caucus Vice Chair of Finance Nikki Merritt of Grayson.
Okay. Wow. Lots of leaders. Do we have an above average amount of folks in high positions?
I would say so. You see a lot of representation in Gwinnett, and we almost feel spoiled for that. And I think Gwinnett businesses, Gwinnett residents should be very proud and lucky to have great leaders in those roles.
I don't take it for granted. We are the most important county in Georgia. We have twice the population of the city of Atlanta. We are nationally recognized. We should have these leaders. I think we're deserving of it. All right. Well, so great for Gwinnett.
Yep.
We've got great representation, and I've lived here for 30 years, and that's been pretty consistent. But this year, this might be the year where we've got the most people at the highest levels. So it's really cool.
Yes.
Okay, so Paul, there's obviously an election year. It's huge, complete turnover. Isn't it every Senate and House seat?
Yep.
And then we have all the constitutional officers. So complete turnover. We've had a ton of turnover. If you've been down there for 8 years serving in the Senate and the House, you're like a senior person, probably chairing some of the most important committees. So what do you expect this year?
So yeah, this year is very unique because you do have folks who've been in these leadership positions, either in the Senate or the House, or in the constitutional roles, and now they're seeking the next thing, or they're retiring, and we have open seats. So you're going to see a lot of changes and new faces after this election year. But I do want to specifically point out some of the races where folks in Gwinnett are running, and I want to start with U.S. House of Representatives, District 13, currently represented by Congressman David Scott, who served in his role for decades. He is being challenged by Jasmine Clark, who is a state representative in the Lilburn area. Governor, we have in the Democratic Party.
Can I
yes.
back? We also have a former school board
That's right.
chair and a representative school board rep who also was running against David Scott in that seat.
Yes, Everton Blair.
Yeah.
Previously served under Gwinnett County Public Schools School Board. Yep.
Yeah.
And chaired it. As you said.
He was chair. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
For governor, on the Democratic side, Rua Roman is a state representative. She is running on a Democratic ticket. And for lieutenant governor, we have David Clark, who's a state rep, running for lieutenant governor. Bill Couser is a state senator, represents a small part of the north part of Gwinnett, and he's running for attorney general. And lastly, for insurance and fire commissioner, Nabila Parks is a state senator who is running for that seat. She's going to be vying for the Democratic nominee to challenge incumbent Commissioner John King.
Okay, got it. So a lot of people running. Everyone's got a chance. But if I'd like to do this, if you're comfortable with it, but
Okay.
I mean, for governor, that's the one. The governor's the governor. It's the top dog, the most influential. It's the bully pulpit. I don't know if there's a state of the state by some of the other constitutional officers, but the governor has one every year, and that's what we all tune into, right? He was the keynote today at today's event. So we've got two parties that are vying for the tickets. We have a primary in mid to late May. And so who do you think are the top, let's say, three? I know there was a poll, AJC poll, which many people have pointed out more people are undecided that had decided, but who do you think the top three are? I think it's pretty obvious.
And I think it's obvious too. And maybe, there could be a surprise. You never know. But if we were to decide today, the top three on the Republican ticket is going to be Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, Attorney General Chris Carr, and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Those three have the most name ID. They have the most funding, and they're in their current roles have the most visibility for voters. On the Democratic side, we have former mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms. We have former state senator Jason Estevez, and we have former DeKalb CEO Michael Thurmond. I believe within those six is going to be our next governor.
I agree with you on the top three candidates. Thurmond, very well respected as a former labor commissioner. I made a career mistake once and actually spoke at a conference, and he spoke, thunderous standing ovation, and then I stand up and I'm the next speaker, and I said what I just said. I said this was like a career mistake. You don't want to follow Michael Thurmond, and everyone's like ha ha ha, clap clap. And I said, and now I will bore you with the PowerPoint, and they all like laugh, but I'm like, I'm serious. I get my PowerPoint out. It was terrible. He's so good. He's such a passionate speaker. And then really is, I think, very well deserving of fixing which was broken to DeKalb County Public Schools. Mm-hmm. So I think he's super well respected, pretty decent name recognition. Obviously, the only one of the top three candidates that was this statewide constitutional officer. Mm-hmm. And then you got a young guy who's really making a huge name for his self, Estevez, a state senator, right?
Former state senator. He has stepped down.
He did. Okay.
And he is focusing his full time on making sure that his name gets out there. So yeah. Okay. But
and then former mayor of Atlanta, who did she complete? She completed her term but didn't run again.
That's right.
And ended up in the Biden administration, and then came back.
Came back. Did I think a short stint at I think CNN.
Oh, did she? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, yeah, I think it's between them. And it'll be really interesting, and we'll just leave it at that. On the other side of the ticket, it's very clear in all the polling, Lieutenant Governor is winning that race. And I think if you end up with some sort of debate, hopefully they don't have to put everybody in it, but if you ended up with those three folks, it'd be really interesting how that would play out.
Yeah.
I have been around for a long time, and I've seen front runners this far out get clobbered with a misstep or just performing very poorly at the debate, and all of a sudden just the pendulum swings. And who the front runner was in January, you knew by the time the primary was happening didn't have a chance. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. He seemed very confident, I think, today. And I guess I would too if I had those polling numbers. And he appears to have an unlimited amount of money, and he's raising a lot of money. Got endorsed by the president. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of things. I mean, the right endorsements, the right funding, a lot of things in his favor. Yeah. So that wouldn't be a surprise. But I think those are two folks I would not want to run against.
Yeah.
The Secretary of State and the AG.
Yeah. And the AJC poll that came out that had Burt Jones in the lead, there's still a big number. The majority of folks are still undecided, and they're still trying to get a clear sense of who's going to be the best person for the job. And it remains to be seen how everything shakes out. So between now and the primaries, we'll see how the messaging plays out. We'll see how the session plays out, and we'll see how a lot of the literature that we see and what's going to be the focus, the key issues that each of those candidates owns.
Well, Paul, I think that was a great way to wrap up. Are we giving our members of the Gwinnett Chamber an opportunity to meet these candidates or hear from them?
Yes, and actually the next one coming up is right around the corner. Next Wednesday, we have, now he's going to be showing up in his official capacity as Lieutenant Governor, but for our next upcoming On Topic, it is an On Topic breakfast, legislative legislative breakfast at the AT&T Club. We'll hear from Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, and he'll address the chamber membership on what's happening at the state capitol this session.
That is awesome that we're given that opportunity to hear from him. We've already heard from Chris Carr. We heard from him, I think it was in October or November, one of our board meetings. Mm-hmm. We have Michael Thurman coming to a board meeting. We have the Secretary of State, Brad Rathenberger, coming to a board meeting. And I'm pretty sure Estevez's people have reached out, and we're going to have him at a board meeting in April or May. So we're giving the top candidates an opportunity. That we're not reaching out to any of them. They've reached out to us. We'd love to give anybody that's interested. There's a lot of people running, but we're trying to focus on and then someone's going to win, and then we'll have back in August, September, October the primary winners.
Yep. These are the folks who've proactively reached out to us and said, hey, we would love to speak and meet with chamber members. And a great avenue to do that is at our board meetings. You have 150 of the top business leaders in Gwinnett County right there to share your platform, share your messaging, and we welcome that.
Great. Well, Paul, as we wrap this up, I can't tell who the host was. This was just a really great conversation, as I think maybe we suspected it would be.
I think so. I think I failed to ask you any questions.
So I'm the host.
So you're still the host.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I didn't want that to come up in your review. Well, Paul, I thought this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this opportunity to chat with you. I want to commend you with all of the listeners present. You've done a great job in your over 6 years of the Gwinnett Chamber, made a huge impact. We were able to obtain the highest level of accreditation in the chamber world. It's 5-star accreditation. And we went from 0 to 100 in the public policy arena, thanks to your work. So thank you, Paul.
I'm happy to be a part of the team. I'm surrounded by amazing coworkers, chamber members even. So this was certainly a team effort, and I love to continue the work.
That's awesome. Paul, you should get like some really cool logoed hat with your 5-star accredited chamber. And you know where I'd go to get that hat? Vox Pop Uli. You know they're our presenting sponsor, don't you?
Of course. How can I forget?
I don't know. How could you forget? And also, Capital Restoration. Paul, when my Vox Pop Uli logoed items get rain ends up on them if they're flooding or something, and after, you know who helps me repair them all?
I'm going to guess Capital Restoration.
Capital Restorations. It's incredible. All right, Paul, thanks so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.